Hello, everyone. Welcome back to week 2 of our introduction to the Christian scriptures. And this week we're going to attempt to do something a little crazy. We're going to try to cover the entire book of Genesis in 1 week, if not in one session. So bear with me as I try to get through a lot of material. And just as a way of reminder, there will be a multiple choice quiz on this chapter, which is taken from chapter 2 of the Arterbury textbook. I think I have it here somewhere. Yes, I do. The Arterbury textbook. I hope you're reading along. Chapter 2. I will post the PowerPoint on the Canvas website, and of course, I'll provide a link to this YouTube video, so you have 3 different ways to find the answers to the quiz. The more important thing, though, is to become familiar with the scriptures. That's the real test, as opposed to the quiz. So let's jump right into it, shall we? This is Arterbury, Bellinger, Dodson, the Introduction to the Christian Scriptures, and we are in the fall of 2022 with a course at Florida International University. This is an online course, Introduction to the Christian Scriptures. Thank you. Let's go. So we have an outline for what we're going to cover today. The Old Testament world. We'll talk a little bit about the geography, Mesopotamia, Syria, Palestine, or Canaan, Egypt, archaeology. We'll talk about the role of archaeology. We'll talk about primeval history, which is, well, first of all, we'll talk about the beginning, the creation story, Genesis chapter 1 and 2. And then we'll talk about primeval history, which includes the Garden of Eden, Noah and the flood, and the Tower of Babel in Genesis 4 through 11. Then we'll talk about ancestral history, which is the story of the patriarchs, Sarah and Abraham, Isaac and Rebekah, Israel or Jacob, and Leah and Rachel. And the Joseph generation, that takes up Genesis 12 through 50. There's a lot to cover. We'll make some general observations and also some specific stuff that we'll cover. So let's go. So the Old Testament world. The Old Testament world has been dubbed the Fertile Crescent because of its crescent-like shape when viewed from afar. The area curves around from the Persian Gulf westward towards Syria and then down through Palestine and Egypt. The strip of land is arable because water is available to support life. And here is a picture of the Fertile Crescent. As you know, this area has been in the news and contemporary events. Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, all of these have been in the news for contemporary events. This is the cradle of civilization. This is where civilization was born. Sometimes it's also referred to as Mesopotamia. The Sumerians and Acadians. The Sumerians and Acadians were the peoples that were the founding people groups in this area of Mesopotamia. Prior to the biblical records of the ancestors in Genesis, which I referred to earlier, Abraham and Sarah, the empires of the Sumerians and Acadians in the 3rd millennium BCE, before the Common Era, built strong cultures in that region. The descendants of the Acadians were the Assyrians first and then later the Babylonians. The Acadians were Semites, which means they were related to the group of people that the Hebrews belonged to. And then there's Syrio-Palestine, or Canaan. Moving further south along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, we find a land bridge called Syrio-Palestine, or Canaan. To its east is a desert, to its west is the sea, Today, this area consists of Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan. The Old Testament often speaks of the peoples who lived in this area and refers to them as the Canaanites. Important Canaanite texts have been discovered at a archaeological dig at a place called Ugarit, a cultural center of the second millennium BCE. And here's a picture up here in the upper part just below Turkey is Ugarit. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, Ugarit or Ugarit. And of course, biblical Israel was further south below Tyre. This land runs through the Jordan River, lifeblood to the peoples of the area between the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. Today, this area is known as the Holy Land for the Abrahamic faiths. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam claim Abraham as their ancestor. But in the ancient world, its primary value was strategic. Those who sought to trade between the major civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia had to travel by way of one of the highways through Palestine. The land is slightly smaller than the state of New Jersey, approximately 155 miles long and 70 miles wide. It's composed of 4 areas: the coastal plain, the central hill country, the Jordan Rift, and the Transjordan Plateau. I'll show you those on a map in a second. Ancient Israel's hopes for unity and cooperation would not be easy with a diversity of geography and topography. Most of the Hebrew settlements were initially built in the hill country. And here's a slightly bigger view of the map, and you see the central hill country runs right up along the Jordan River, and that's where Jerusalem is located. The coastal plain, where I'm drawing a blank now. There's a particular people group that lived there that fought with Israel quite a bit, and the group that the giant was from, and I can't remember their names. Then up here is the Transjordan Plateau, and here's the Jordan Rift. The Central Hill Country was the second major geographical division of the map. In the north, the Galilee Hills give way to the plain of Megiddo, which leads to the hills of what was later the Northern Kingdom. As one moves further south, one encounters the low-lying hills, the plateau where Jerusalem is located, a position that holds many advantages for those defending it. Most of the Hebrew settlements were initially in the hill country. The Jordan Rift begins near Mount Hermon in the north and provides a location for the Jordan River, which flows from the Sea of Galilee in the north to the Dead Sea in the south. The Jordan is a downrusher. It meanders and rushes from a high elevation to a low elevation at the Dead Sea. The Jordan is not as advantageous to agriculture as are the Mesopotamian rivers or the Nile. The Dead Sea is a saltwater lake, which is well below sea level and thus befitting of its name. Beyond the Dead Sea, the rift is known as the Arabah, or Arabia. This whole area was filled with polytheistic cultures, from Egypt up through Mesopotamia. The Hittites, the Canaanites were all polytheistic cultures, and agricultural religions, meaning that they had a certain cyclical nature, and they often put an emphasis on fertility. Ancient Near Eastern texts from the other peoples in the region can often help in the task of interpreting the texts from ancient Israel. Israel's paradigmatic story was the Exodus, set in ancient Egypt. Most of the cultures in Egypt and Canaan were polytheistic. In this context, the author of the book notes The distinctiveness of the faith revealed in the Hebrew scriptures is remarkable. Archaeology. Our discussion of geography relates to the work of archaeologists. The archaeologists are those who study material remains of ancient cultures, such as pottery, animal bones, remains of buildings, or written texts. The goal of archaeologists is neither to prove nor disprove anything about the Bible and its historicity. It is rather to provide as much information as possible for the reconstructing of the lives of the ancient peoples in the context from which the Bible originated. Archaeology finds often relate to ancient religious practices. So the point of this work of archaeology is to shed light on the original peoples and what meaning that might have for them and how they would have interpreted the scriptures. So here's an insight from the book about some of the significant archaeological finds. Historically, the Rosetta Stone was found around 1800, and it allowed the decoding of Egyptian inscriptions. The Gilgamesh Epic was an ancient Assyrian library from an ancient Assyrian library in Nineveh. It was discovered in the middle of the 19th century, and it bears some resemblance to some of the early part of Genesis, and it predates the writing of Genesis, most likely. The Ugaritic materials, which I've already mentioned, from the northern part of Canaan. Beginning in the late 1920s, archaeologists discovered clay tablets from the ancient city of Ugarit in Syria. These texts provide much information about the Canaanite religion, often opposed by the Hebrew prophets. Then the Mari tablets are from Mari, a capital city in northern Mesopotamia on the Euphrates River. The excavations were done in the 1930s, and the texts reveal 3rd and 2nd millennium BCE customs of people who were ancestors of the Hebrews. And finally, the famous Dead Sea Scrolls. These were discovered in the mid-20th century in caves near the Dead Sea, and they contain a treasure of biblical and non-biblical manuscripts among the scrolls. This find is the most famous of all the archaeological discoveries related to the Bible, and it provides much background information for the New Testament and many texts that help in the task of textual criticism in Old Testament studies. So we've already mentioned the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in the mid-20th century in some caves near the Dead Sea, the most famous of all the archaeological discoveries related to the Bible. The Pentateuch. The Pentateuch is the name of the first 5 books of the Bible in the Hebrew Torah. Having considered the introductory materials, we're now prepared to begin reading the Old Testament. The first division of the Hebrew canon is the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. We will consider these books in 4 sections: primeval history, ancestral stories, the Exodus and Covenant, and the sojourn in the wilderness. And today I hope to cover the primeval history and the ancestral stories if possible. It's going to take us 2 weeks to get through the whole Pentateuch. There are 4 narratives in these chapters in primeval history. Let me pop this up there. Genesis, the first part of Genesis 2 through 11, and there's 4 narratives: the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, Noah and the flood, and the Tower of Babel. This is called primeval history, or you can also call it universal history in the sense that it deals with universal humanity. Some people in religious studies call it mythical stories. And in that sense, myth does not mean fiction. Myth means stories that give meaning. So creation in Genesis 1. The introductions sets up the body of the account by portraying the creation as unformed, which is the Hebrew word tohu, and unfilled, bohu, B-O-H-U. The account of days 1 through 3 deal with the unformed character of creation, days 1 through 3. The accounts of days 4 through 6 deal with the unfilled character of creation. So first it's unformed, but even when it's formed, it's still unfilled, waiting to be filled. Here's a lovely picture I got that represents the fall of Adam and Eve in the garden and being driven out of the garden. This is a representation of the literary structure of Genesis. You'll find this in your book. On page, what page is it? I don't have it handy, so I may have to move on with that. Okay, here it is. Page 32. It's in your book, and it shows you how Genesis 1 can be broken down in terms of literary structure. All the things on the left side are the unformed tohu. On the right side is the unfilled bohu. So in day 1, you have the divine command of the appearance of light, the division of light from darkness, the shining of night and day, and the summary phrase. On day 4, we circle back to the divine command, and the command that lights appear. Their purposes are stated in their execution of making the lights, and their purposes fulfilled. On day 2, we have the making of the sky and the division of the lower waters from the upper. On day 5, we have the command to produce fish and birds. Of course, birds fill the sky, and the fish fill the water. So you see, there's a certain symmetry here, a certain symmetry to Genesis chapter 1, where first it's formed, and then later it circles back to filling that which is formed. So I think this is kind of repetitive. That is, the parts of creation formed in one day are filled in day 4. I've already mentioned this. Reading Genesis 1 with the question of literary structure in mind, as reflected in the table, makes it clear that this creation account has been carefully shaped to communicate a perspective about God as creator and humans as created in the image and likeness of God. And then I just wanted to mention that there are other creation stories in the ancient Near East. The Babylonian creation epic goes back to the Acadians in the 3rd millennium, and it's called the Enuma Elish, and it narrates the creation of the world in terms of a soap opera-like war among the gods and goddesses. The children of the gods are at war with the parents or the grandparent gods. And the earth is shaped from the defeated body of a goddess Tiamat. This story exhibits some parallels to Genesis 1. They both begin with a watery chaos and a deity created by speaking. There are 6 divisions followed by divine rest, and the creation begins with light. So you see some of the similarities, but there's also some significant differences. For example, in the Enuma Elish, humans are created from demonic blood to be servants of the gods. There's not the same sense of being created in the image and likeness of God as stewards of creation. So, this brings us to Genesis 2 through 11, primeval history or universal history. There are 4 narratives in these chapters, which include the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, Noah and the flood, and the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11. And the theme of all 4 of these stories is disobedience leading to consequences leading to grace. So careful readers will notice that the punishment and disobedience is not at the end of the story. The story of the garden of Cain and Abel and Noah and the story of Noah all conclude with acts of divine grace or kindness. So the counter theme to the growing power of sin is the almost secret growing power of grace in the world. But what about hope and grace for the Tower of Babel? Tower of Babel is in chapter 11, and there's no conclusion of hope and grace for that story, unless you carry over into chapter 12, in which Abram and Sarai are called on a journey and called to become a father of a multitude. And so some people think that perhaps the story of Abraham's call is the resolution or the hope and grace for the chapter 11 Tower of Babel story. So I've already mentioned that primeval history is also called universal history. Perhaps and remember, this is not history in the modern sense of empirically verified historical facts. It's more of history in a mythical sense of a set of founding myths that provide shape and meaning for a culture or an ethos. Perhaps it's helpful to label primeval history as universal history. The texts narrate the origin of the world and the humans and represent the human condition and context to begin the biblical story. Many interpreters suggest that these texts, with their names and languages and types of narratives and their connections with the other ancient Near Eastern traditions, are more representative of women and men than they are about specific persons. And I want to say a word here about hermeneutics and interpretation. Two questions are at the heart of the interpretive task. What did the Bible mean when it was written to the people who were writing it? And what does the Bible mean as we read it today? So those are two very different cultural tasks. One, to determine what did Genesis mean when it was being written, dictated, edited in the 6th century BCE, and what does it mean to us now as we read it and meditate on these passages. This process of interpretation has come to be known as hermeneutics, the art of interpretation. And you see how it's spelled up there in the upper left, hermeneutics, the art of interpretation. These questions suggest a hermeneutic focusing on historical matters related to the origin of the text. And this is where archaeology and other tools can be helpful. So some questions for greater understanding as you approach a biblical text is you ask questions in order to throw light on its meaning. One of those would be a questions of origin. The Bible originated in the ancient Near East and the ancient Mediterranean world. One must understand that world in which the text originated in order to interpret it. Archaeology is one of the essential tools to help interpreters. There's also questions of literature. When you're reading a text, you must pay attention to what literary form you're reading. For example, the poetry of Psalms or the Song of Solomon are very different than the Pentateuch, the more historical books. Another is the questions of reception. How does the reading impact the reader, both ancient and contemporary? How does the modern reader encounter these texts? What was the cultural context in which the ancient readers or hearers would have encountered these texts? What do readers today bring to the text? How do they have an impact? How does the subjective perception of the reader have an impact on the interpretation? So now this brings us to Ancestral History Genesis 12 through 50. This is where we need help to get through 38 chapters in the next 6 minutes, but we'll do our best. The genealogy in Genesis 11 leads to the family of Abram and Sarai, whose story begins the second major division of the book of Genesis, the Ancestral Narratives from Genesis 12 through 50. Remember, Genesis 12 begins immediately after the story of the Tower of Babel. Our discussion of these stories will consider the stories in the context of the book of Genesis and review the narratives of the first 4 generations portrayed. First, it would be important to consider some historical matters. After the universal history of Genesis 1 through 11, the story narrows down to Abram and Sarai and their descendants. Many interpreters would suggest that the cultural world of this family fits in the first half of the second millennium BCE. In other words, around 2100 through 1550 BCE. This would be in the middle of the Bronze Age. It seems to fit the social historical world portrayed in the ancestral stories. In other words, around 2,000 years before Christ. The context in Genesis, the primeval history recounted the beginnings of the human adventure and revealed continuing human fallibility. As the wide angle of those stories narrows at the end of Genesis 11 to the specific story of one family, divine engagement with the world continues with a focus on the family of Abram and Sarai as a means of engaging all the families of the earth. Divine initiation of this relationship answers the questions of the place of divine grace following the scattering and confusion of languages in the story of Babel. So in this story in Genesis 12 through 50, we'll be examining the story of Abram and Sarai, who later come to be named Abraham and Sarah. Then in Genesis 24, we'll look at Isaac and Rebekah. Genesis 25, we look at Jacob and eventually his wives Rachel and Leah and his conflict with his twin brother Esau. And then finally in Genesis chapter 37, we look at the Joseph generation. Yahweh's promise to Abram. This is where we begin in chapter 12. Yahweh calls Abram to journey to a land that I will show you, and makes three promises. He promises to make Abram a great people. He promises to provide blessing. And he promises to make Abram's name great in order to bring blessing to all the families of the earth. This promise articulates the primary theme of the ancestral stories, a promise that is often expressed in terms of descendants, land, and blessing. I will give you descendants, I will give you land, and I will bless you. There's also a counter narrative, which is opposition and threat. As with all gripping literature, there's a counter theme, that of a threat to this ancestral promise. The question driving the narratives is whether the blessing will come to fruition. We have the promise, will it come to pass? Several threats come forward. One is barrenness. In Genesis 16, Sarai is unable to conceive a child. And then Genesis 12, compromise. And then Genesis 27, there's sibling rivalry between Jacob and Esau. And then in Genesis 34, there's conflicts with the local residents, the Canaanites. And in the generation of Joseph, there's jealousy towards Joseph. Potiphar's wife tries to seduce him. So there's just one after another threat to the fulfilling of the promise that arises. But Genesis 50, verse 20, ends with the hope and promise intact. Abram and Sarai. Genesis 12 brings the story of Abram and Sarai, whom God calls to a journey and a promise. They go down to Egypt because of a famine, and there Abram puts his wife in danger by calling her his sister in order to avoid being killed so that they might take her. It's kind of a punk move on his part. And one thing that Genesis never does is it never covers over human weakness. Yahweh delivers them from this danger. Abram becomes wealthy and deals with conflicts with his nephew Lot. Despite the promise, Abram still does not have a child. Yahweh repeats the promise and confirms it with a covenant custom sacrifice. Animals are cut in two and sacrificed. A smoking fire pot and a flaming torch passes between the pieces, which is something cultural from that time period. Otherwise, it's a little hard to understand. These are symbols of the divine presence, which equals a theophany. Another custom of the culture is when Sarai continues to be barren, she instructs her servant Hagar to have a child with her husband Abram, so that Ishmael is born as Sarai's child by proxy. This is where we get a little bit of family drama. And I think since we're 30 minutes, I'm going to stop here and try to finish this up later this week. So view this video on Monday or Tuesday, and by Thursday watch part 2 for week 2, and I'll finish up our section on Genesis. Thank you very much. I'll be back soon. Take care.